Salve, mates, I am Ruminus, and today we are finishing off our planned videos for the game design series with accessibility. I may make more later on, but for now, this is the last planned video. Accessibility is the new favorite word for inclusivity in video games. In education, it's called differentiation, which is where the needs and disabilities of all the students are incorporated into the design of the lesson. For games, this has become a recent topic as they get more and more players, which include people with impaired hearing, impaired vision, colorblindness, dyslexia, and all sorts of other disabilities. For some of these impairments, a simple setting can help alleviate the issues, but for others, it takes more work and thought. For colorblindness, allowing RGB sliders for subtitles can be the simplest solution. Staying away from reds and greens, especially together, can help, as humans have RGB cones in their eyes, and those two colors are the most frequently impacted with this impairment. Level design will take a little bit more work as it really limits the colors you can use, but the general advice would be to not make anything small and necessary those colors. Use a flashing light if needed. Inclusivity is to include all, not to exclude everybody else. This is the first thing I did when designing my UX and UI in the menus, so that it'd be easier for people with this impairment to navigate the menu and text in the game. For dyslexia, having different typefaces geared towards impairment could help. Dyslexia is when the letters decide to dance and make reading impossible. For my game, I plan to have 5 fonts, 4 of which are designed to help limit the impacts of dyslexia. Because of the length, height, and kerning of each typeface, this may become infeasible and I will likely change it as development progresses, but I will at least keep one that mitigates dyslexia. My script currently is 200 pages. Mass Effect, Red Dead Redemption, The Walking Dead have hundreds of pages as well, and designing multiple typefaces may be infeasible. I may end up just using a font that is more dyslexia friendly to avoid the work of incorporating all these different fonts. Bars or visual graphics and kerning on numbers are good for dyscalculia, subtitles are good for impaired hearing, vibration in the controller, and clearer focus or saturation can help impaired vision. However, bars and visual graphics are not always clear. Money and potentially infinite, really big or really small numbers are not easy to tell by a bar. Use where possible, but sometimes you're limited by the time and money for production. Looking back at old games for the Atari and NES, there's no tutorials really, and no text or explanations. Just play the game and figure it out. It pushed many people away as some games were hard to learn, and many people spent 12 years in school with explicit learning and struggle to be thrown entirely into implicit. The muscle memory and hand-eye coordination help, but there is also an issue that people are not used to that teaching style. Many kids grow up with games, and games are getting better at teaching their game, so it does help in this regard. Accessibility is about bridging the gap for people with disabilities and those with inexperience. YouTube and Twitch have helped in some regard, allowing people to watch games instead of dealing with the stress of actually playing the game where the stupid carb square won't get up the insulin wall. Let's do this. Alright, and now what? I didn't think this far through, man. Open back up, please. Please? Thank you. Making games with better tutorials, less compacted, overcrowded systems, more autonomy helps bridge that gap as well. People learn by doing, and limiting the autonomy by a forced, slow tutorial will push so many away. Since it's a new topic, there are very few games that exhibit such great or poor examples of inclusion, and I cannot accurately give examples of games that do this well, other than in my previous videos where I talk about good or bad systems to include different types of people. And so, accessibility is all about making a game accessible or approachable to various types of players. Now, there's a certain limit to what you can do. Fighting games and racing games are very fast-paced, and so people with a lot of decision paralysis, people with cognitive issues where they can't think on their feet, they may not be able to play your game. And that's unfortunate. You can make a fighting game that's much more slower paced and more strategic, but you're also going to alienate the people that like the faster paced ones. There is a certain point where there's only so much that you can do, but what you can do is research things for colorblindness, dyslexia, dyscalculia, all these very simple things that may have more simple solutions, like changing the text on your font, changing the color on certain things, allowing certain saturation levels, and turning off vibrations, which a lot of games do nowadays, but turning off vibrations can actually help a lot of people with tactile issues. So just think about these very basic things and allow settings and options to turn these things off. As such, I want to leave this where it began, with the players. You all are who choose what games go platinum, what receive awards, what receive sequels. You all are who buy the games and fund the money into the system, and so you all should be the ones to voice your opinions and how games progress. What types of issues do you have with game design? What changes or solutions would you do to help others with disabilities or ones that you personally have? What designs or gameplay aspects or mechanics would you help include for various types of people, for veteran gamers to those who have never played before? As for this playlist, I believe that I've covered practically everything that is needed for a fundamental design plan for video games. I hope that it has helped some aspiring developers a bit, and perhaps gave critics and players a bit more insight on how to better analyze games. Breaking news from the future, guys. I decided to initially end the series here, but then I realized I'd have free time. I wouldn't be so stressed and overburdened, and I can't have that because I'm a masochist and I hate my life and I love to work because I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with me, but it's a problem and I'm not ready to deal with it yet. But I will continue this series with little mini episodes. These episodes take 25 to 30 hours to make, and it's too much right now to continue to do that series just because, as you noticed, I missed a few weeks because it is a lot of work to do, and I'm doing too many other things in my life that I can't really dedicate myself to another series like this, and this series is done. Most of the main concepts already done, so all that's really left is to go over the basic aspects and the smaller aspects of things like cycles, main character syndrome, defense always wins, those smaller things that I kind of either glossed over or that actually have a greater impact on the game, but really didn't fit into one specific category. So I will continue to make these videos. They won't be, they won't be as extensive. They'll be 2 to 3 minutes long, and they'll usually go over a specific game and kind of show exactly in the game how it works, and I don't know when I'm going to upload those. They might be once a week, they might be every 2 weeks, they might be once every 7 years, who knows? I'm going to make them whenever I have time or whenever they come up, but if you have any suggestions of specific topics, specific games, specific things, please put them in the comment section below so that I can review them and make a video on them. I am more than happy to help you guys out and be part of the community. The whole part of this was to build a community that's much better in analyzing games and making them better so we can have better games. But for the time being, I will continue to make my own game, I will continue to make reviews, I will continue to make upload videos on random games, and I will also do a review of my own game whenever it gets finished. If any of you were willing to make a game with me, please let me know, because I am overburdened, overworked, and not skillful enough to make this game by myself with my current schedule and lifestyle, but I will also make a review of my own game to show exactly where I failed and succeeded in my own advice for making a good game. But for now, gratias vobis qui spectoistis ago, sint omnia bene. Avete atque valete. Valete omnes.